As we get closer and closer to summer, it seems like the games aren't really slowing down. We're here to give you 10 of the best games releasing in May 2017. It's a month filled with a lot of variety, and I promise the games get better the more we go down the list. But let's get started off with number 10. Reservoir Dogs Bloody Days is a top-down strategy shooter, and it's actually the second attempt at nailing a Reservoir Dog game. I don't know if you remember the previous one on like PS2, Xbox, but it wasn't so hot. This one, however, looks promising with really embracing its own Team Fortressy style art style and the ability to pull off essentially the perfect crime through proper planning. We've gotten our hands on some previews, and it actually feels much more like an indie top-down style game, and it's really interesting the way certain tactics into robbing a bank can actually be changed on the fly, and essentially you can turn back time and do things the correct way. Thankfully too, it's also got lots of shooting and blood and violence for movie fans, and considering the source material of Reservoir Dogs is so good, that's why we're keeping an eye on it. It could be a disaster, but it does look promising and we're hoping for the best. And at number 9, for you PSVR fans, you're finally getting one of the big titles you've been waiting for, and that is Farpoint. Farpoint, for those of you that don't know, is a first-person sci-fi shooter completely in VR that also ships with a VR controller that essentially replicates a gun and allows you to attach one of the PlayStation Move controllers of your PSVR onto it, and then boom, you have a rifle in-game. The game has you wandering around lonely-looking alien planets, shooting aliens and creatures and stuff, but some of the more interesting things are some boss battles with some giant creatures that, in VR, you actually really feel that sense of scale. PSVR has been a weird launch. It's been semi-successful, but it's had a lot of indie experiences, and I think some of the people that went out and got it day one have really been waiting for a bigger title, and hopefully Farpoint is the one. And at number 8, we have Get Even, a first-person psychological thriller puzzle indie style game that actually looks really cool. While you think usually that style of game is now a dime a dozen on Steam, this one by the Polish studio Farm 51 looks to have a better budget with a lot of good visuals going on. And the game is really a thriller through and through. It's actually designed to really kind of mess with the player and give them different emotions and really make them question everything, because it's a thriller where nothing is really actually real. The game starts out enough in the fact that you're infiltrating this old abandoned building with a silenced pistol, and you're this private investigator who has to save a girl, but things quickly get really, really weird. While in a lot of videos and a lot of screenshots it does look like a traditional first-person shooter, the game seems to be going for a bit more beneath the surface, and that's what got us curious. And at number 7, we have Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, releasing on 3DS May 19th in North America and Europe. Last month after its initial release in Japan, it seems to have had some critical acclaim, and that's good. But really, do you expect less from a Fire Emblem game? It's actually a full remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden. For those of you that don't know, that's actually the second entry in the Fire Emblem series back from 1992. So if you think about it, given the success of the series and the pedigree, and the fact that Fire Emblem Gaiden was already a proven entry, this remake could be pretty damn good. It never actually got a Western release, so now this remake is finally coming to North America, and that's a good thing. Gameplay elements are similar, but the world is reimagined and the characters are redesigned with new art and stuff, and I think Fire Emblem fans are really going to appreciate this, especially the newer fans, because this game is essentially more of a history lesson of the series. It's one of the best franchises on the 3DS, so I hope Shadows of Valentia continues that trend. And at number 6, we have a game where us at gameranx, we've really been keeping our eye on this one. It's called The Surge. It's essentially sci-fi Dark Souls. There's a lot more going on than that. I don't mean to completely discount the game, but that's essentially the elevator pitch. The most interesting thing is that it's being developed by the guys who made Lords of the Fallen, which, if you don't know, that was probably one of the better Dark Souls style games after Dark Souls until at least Neo came out. But the idea here is really interesting and mech-based, because you're a dude who fights, you fight other people and robots with things on them, and then you slowly get to gather parts and put them on yourself and essentially become a walking Iron Man style badass. Judging from the trailers, the combat and the RPG elements look to be there, so we're really hoping, our fingers crossed, that this is good. Thankfully, we won't have to wait long because it releases May 9th. And at number 5, we have Strafe, a very exciting, very unique looking first-person shooter in the style of 90s stuff. It's a fast-paced, action-heavy first-person shooter that doesn't look like any other first-person shooter you've seen in a while, or at least since like 1996. We're looking forward to this game because the team behind it is really excited and passionate about the style of game. Fast, violent, ridiculous, stupid fun, and it's from Devolver Digital as well, who likes to publish games that are usually pretty darn good. As someone who is getting rapidly older by the day, this could be an exciting history lesson too for people who never got their hands on this style of game, because it looks like a refreshing new take on a nostalgic style, and I'm all about it. But at number 4, another game that we're really looking forward to here is Injustice 2. Look, I don't know if you played the original Injustice, but it was good. It was just some 100% straight up good DC stuff. Even if you're not the biggest fan of DC superheroes, I think you could find a lot to love here. Not only do you get great, well-realized characters in a fighting game that's pretty well realized with some good movesets, but you also get a very interesting single-player campaign that is a really good interpretation and spin on common DC lore and mythos. If Injustice 2 is anything like the satisfying package that was the original Injustice, I think it could be awesome. Not to mention all the new characters, the way better visuals this time around, and some of the RPG and armor elements where you can actually upgrade and customize your fighter online and offline really kind of makes things a bit more interesting this time around, and that's what we were looking for. It's out for basically every platform except PC, unfortunately, May 16th. And at number 3, we have Friday the 13th, the game. This one has been a long time coming since its announcement and its Kickstarter campaign. People and Friday the 13th fans have been eagerly anticipating this, and it's the style of game where it's one versus multiple in a multiplayer match, and I think this one really has the potential to take off and take that style of game to new levels. You know, we've had stuff like Evolve do okay in the past, but Friday the 13th just has such a nice layer of awesomeness over it, and that awesomeness is the series of movies it's based on. You get to play as a bunch of different victims running from Jason, and when you get to play as Jason, you have a choice over multiple different representations and skins of him, each of which has their own different abilities and weaknesses. If it's balanced and done right, this could be some really compelling multiplayer gameplay. And most importantly, it does really seem to respect and honor the movies. If you like gore, if you like violence, if you like killing, and some multiplayer action, I think this one's gonna be good, but we won't know for sure until the end of May 26th. And at number 2, we have Rime, releasing for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and apparently a Switch version later on. And this game has been a long time in the making. It's being developed by Tequila Works, the guys behind Deadlight and The Sexy Brutale. And what it is essentially a character-based third-person adventure puzzle-style game. The game's about a boy who simply needs to escape an island and a curse. Interestingly enough, this is a story-based game, but there's no spoken narrative, but visually it looks really nice. There's a day and night cycle. It's been inspired by a lot of famous artists like Salvador Dali and Giorgio de Chirico. The design looks open world, but it's not. It's more of an overworld with gated elements. To me, looking from the outside, it seems similar to some of the puzzle design from last year's The Witness. This looks like a cool little adventure as a lonely boy on an island, and I don't know, it just seems unique. And there's been a lot of anticipation out there for this for a while, and we're gonna join the chorus there. But at number 1, we have Prey, the first-person action-adventure style game being developed by Arcane and being published by Bethesda after the original Prey 2 that was teased so many years ago has been scrapped. Personally, I was the type of person that was really looking forward to Prey 2 even after the rumored cancellation, but since they scrapped it and went back to the drawing board with this new Prey, it still looks really promising and almost wiped away my thoughts of the original Prey 2. You play as a scientist-type dude, Morgan Yu, exploring the orbital space station Talos 1. There's this evil alien collective that breaks out there called the Typhon, which is essentially this mysterious cloud-like creature things with a lot of properties similar to a mimic. The game looks pretty interesting graphically and visual design, but something worth pointing out is that it's being developed, like I said, by Arcane, the people who obviously have a really good pedigree since they've made Dishonored. Not only that, they also set out to say that this is kind of like a spiritual successor to System Shock. And for those of you that don't know, System Shock is the stuff of video game legend. So if Prey tries to walk that path while also innovating and introducing us to new things, I think it could be pretty damn good. I know a lot of you guys out there are always just down to sink your teeth into a new single player experience, and for May, we're really hoping that this is the one. It's an interesting month with a lot of weird games, but we also have a few bonus games that we couldn't fit on the list, including Star Trek Bridge Crew, the VR Star Trek experience, is finally getting a release date after so many delays. We also have the newest Guilty Gear game releasing May 26th, and I'm sure that hardcore fan base is really excited, and a top-down PC survival game that looks a little different we've been keeping our eye on called Impact Winter. But these are the games we are looking forward to playing the most in May. But most importantly, we want to hear from you guys down in the comments what games you're looking forward to playing the most in May. There's a lot of other smaller games releasing this month, so if you got your own top 5 or your own top 10 of games you're looking forward to in May, let us know. Hit us up in the comments with that. Between Injustice, Friday the 13th, Prey, The Surge, and everything in between, there's going to be a lot to play. So let's talk about this stuff down in the comments. I'll be there talking to you guys. I'll also be on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino as well. But you guys know the deal. Thanks for coming around. If you learned a thing or two about a new game releasing, maybe click the like button. That's the best way you can help us out. But if you are new, subscribing is a good idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.